contentious situation between the two of you. Based on the evidence I've looked at, there was a notice of eviction. It was properly posted on the door, properly served, properly notified, although your girlfriend was in jail, and the sheriff came out and did a lockout pursuant to a court order. The sheriff doesn't do a lockout because they tell them to. The sheriff does a lockout because the court tells them to. And after the lockout is done, it's very specific rules and guidelines in your state as to what happens with the property. A tenant only has a certain number of days to come and claim the property. And it's 15 to 18 days. When they don't during that time period, then they forfeit their right of possession. Now, if you say you own half of this property and you should have had legal right to come and get the bedroom set, it is up to your girlfriend to communicate that information to them. Based on everything I've heard today, you do not have sufficient proof that she communicated that information to the defendant. So I find that they were within their legal rights to have the garage sale and sell the furniture. Now, if your girlfriend wants to bring a claim because she's not a part of your case, if she wants to fight this and say that it wasn't right what they did after she gets out of jail, by all means, she can do so. But as far as your claim, sir, I do not find that you have a legal claim to this furniture. On your claim against him for $5,000, zero. On your claim against them, zero, sir. You have not met your burden of proof in court today. Judgments for the defendants.
If you or someone you know has a dispute, don't take the law into your own hands. Let Judge Faith rule on it for you. To submit your case, go to judgefaith.com and tell us your story. See you in court.
I'll get them outside, okay? Thank you. We'll get you your documents outside. Okay, go on out. We'll tell the deputies. Go on out. Go ahead and go on out.
Today on Judge Faith, an Ohio business owner confronts the employee who put her cleaning company in jeopardy.
We hire a lot of people that have just come out of jail, and we try to help them get back into society.
I wasn't fired, I quit.
He was the reason I lost 2 or 3 of my contracts.
I did not forge the paperwork, my co-worker.
I don't really care who signed the name. The two of you were in this together.
And later, an Atlanta investor demands the barber who failed to keep his shop open pay back a loan plus 40% interest.
Did you go to court on this case prior to today?
I didn't know anything about that. I'm not aware of a court date.
I filed the paperwork and he didn't respond within that time frame, so I filed my default judgment.
You're clueless. You don't know about any of this.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Connie Oates says the defendant wrecked a company van and failed to show up for work. She's suing for loss of revenue and van costs. Defendant Troy York says he doesn't know because Connie was paid back for the van and she's trying to take advantage of him. He's countersuing for his last paycheck.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Oates versus York.
Thank you, Juan. Connie Oates,
Yes, that's correct.
you were suing the defendant Troy York
Yes, that's correct.
for $884 for loss of revenue and van costs.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $500 for payment for your last paycheck.
Oh, there goes the.
So you still pay the plan?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning, Ms. Oates?
Fuck!
Okay, I own a janitorial business. Troy is a past employee of mine. He was one of my top employees. He specializes in cleaning floors. I have chain stores that we clean the floors in.
So
My
what
husband
happened?
actually met Troy. He was in CTF.
Great,
He
great,
sent down
great,
to
great,
Barbados
the-
where they
the
go because
fuck?
they've been incarcerated.
The microphone's not working again.
Speaks for AA
What?
groups, Alcoholic Anonymous,
Okay,
and
is it
drug,
working now?
rehab centers.
Okay.
And this is
Okay.
where he met Troy
Check,
and
check,
told
check,
him at
check,
that
check.
time that I was looking for some employees.
Okay, so you were sort of in a halfway house at the time.
It was more like AA,
Okay, what had you been in prison for?
burglary.
you went to prison for burglary. How long were you in jail?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. You get out, and you're now in this program that helps inmates sort of reacclimate themselves into society.
Yes, but I'm already completed that. I completed it before I started.
So you've completed the program, and you meet her husband, and the two of you talk about employment.
Yes.
And this was your first job in a number of years?
Yes.
Because you had served your time and you were out now.
Correct.
Do you often hire?
I do quite often. We hire a lot of people that are going through rehabilitation, that have just come out of jail. A lot of people through my husband's church, a lot of people through my church.
Okay.
And we try to help them get back into society. This is very limited part-time work. We work early mornings and late nights, which give them all day to try to find other employment. We try to tell people, use me as a stepping stone. Work well with me. That way I can give you a good referral so that you can better yourself.
That sounds like a good program you have going on there to help people start at work again. It's great. You were paying him by the hour?
I pay per store because it's considered more piecework. They go from one store to another store. They have 1 hour to do a sweep mop up in a store. He was one of my best employees. He would go do a 2-person job alone.
Okay. So you were doing good work.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't judge you by
No.
your past, the fact that you were a convicted felon coming right out of jail, because some people would.
Yes.
Right.
You know, but you feel like they didn't?
No.
Okay. So what ends up happening, Miss Oates? Why are we here today?
Actually, mid-year this year, I started having problems receiving calls saying that Troy was having problems in the stores.
Okay.
His performance was not up to par. He was acting like he really didn't care about the jobs, about how the stores looked, which the managers were questioning me because they weren't used to this out of Troy.
What was going on?
The gentleman that I have working with Troy is actually autistic. He has the mentality of a 14-year-old. So Troy basically trained him, and I keep him working with Troy 99% of the time.
How old is he?
He's 25. I believe he just turned 25.
Did anything happen that, is what she's saying true? She started getting complaints about you and she called you in to talk about it?
No, she never told me there was complaints in the store.
Oh, you never heard about
No.
that? Prior to you being fired?
No. I wasn't fired. I quit.
He was the reason I lost 2 or 3 of my contracts.
How was that? What happened?
I received numerous calls from corporate on one of my buildings saying that Troy didn't show up. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Coming up, Troy's job performance goes from bad to worse.
You received calls from the store that he did not do the work, and that was for 3 different stores.
Well, it ended up being over 14 stores.
And later, a failed business brings former associates to court.
I was told by the city of Atlanta I had to wait 45 days. If he didn't respond within that 45 days, I could file my default judgment.
You were given paperwork and a court date, right?
Yes.
And did you go to court on that date?
No, I didn't
Why?
go.
Plaintiff Connie Oates says Troy disappeared because his lies were catching up to him. She's suing for loss of revenue and van costs. Defendant Troy York says he doesn't know because Connie was paid back for the van.
Mm.